Joe Zarzaur here with Dr. Evan Malone for another episode of Zarzaur Law TV. This continues our medical series, specifically on the shoulder injuries related to car wrecks. In the first series regarding a rotator cuff, we talked about what is a rotator cuff. It's four muscles in your shoulder that hold the ball in the socket in place, and we talked about the mechanism of injury most typical for rotator cuff tears and injuries associated with car wrecks. In this episode, we're going to talk about what are the signs and symptoms that you have a rotator cuff tear. I will tell you that most of my clients that end up with shoulder issues sometimes have neck issues. Like they have a pinched nerve, I'll call it a pinched nerve, a herniated disc or a disc that's blown out in their neck, and they think their shoulder has a problem.
Exactly.
And the inverse is also true. They come in saying they have a neck problem and it's a shoulder problem.
Yeah, they chase the neck down and
Correct.
It's all normal.
So the doctors end up having to do both.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, tell us what you're looking for if you've been in a car wreck and you have a potential rotator cuff tear. What kind of signs and symptoms, doctor, would people have?
So you're going to have pain, but pain is pretty nondescript because you're expected to hurt after a major accident like that. So if the pain lasts for a while, or if you have a functional deficit, so it's going to be like, I feel like my arm may be asleep or heavy, or I can't do something simple like pick something up or reach behind me, or when you lay on your side in bed, you'll notice that the pain is worse because it's pulling on that injured muscle or group of muscles, depending on how bad the injury is.
Basically, your range of motion is affected.
Yeah, and so like the typical one is someone says, oh, like I used to be able to, blow dry my hair in the morning and I can't get past this part right here because then one of those muscles that does that last lift has been injured.
Right. They're not necessarily going to, the weird thing about rotator cuff tears, I've noticed this too, is you don't have pain all the time after the initial acute trauma. Like you have pain initially, and then only if you do certain movements do you have pain after the initial acute injury phase.
Exactly, and so there's a lot of people walking around out there with chronic shoulder injuries, and it's been a rotator cuff that they've compensated for. So if you notice that there's been an abrupt change after a car accident like this, that's pretty much, it's probably attributable to the accident. You need to get it worked up.
Right. So they're very common in car wrecks because of the deceleration injury characteristic of car wrecks. If you have an injury like this, or you think you may, and you want to talk to a lawyer about it, you can find us on the web at zarzaurlaw.com. Of course, you can always call us at 855-HIRE-JOE. Thank you.